The bouncing ball, the way I showed it before, has a catch to it, which is that it's not set up that well for rotation. And I'll show you a pretty quick and easy rig you can do so that you could do all that same stuff, but then also, have it rotate. So I've got this sphere, and I'm going to group it to itself. And notice I have it at the origin to begin with, which is important. Um, and you can use the default group options, which put the group pivot at the origin. So you could also have it at the center. But so now there's two nodes here. I'll call this one ball group. Oops. Okay. So, and each of those has its own pivot point. So the idea is I'll take the pivot point of the ball group. I'm going to hold down the D and V keys and D and V middle mouse drag that to put that at the bottom. So you'll see that ball group pivot point is at the bottom, but this for the sphere remains in the center. And the point of that is, let's do a quick bouncing ball. So, but what I was going to say is the point is that I can do the translate and scale with this group, and I can do the rotate with this sphere, and that way it'll spin from the center, but it'll bounce from the bottom, and that's easier. So let's do a very quick animation. Set a keyframe. I'll turn on my auto keyframe. Now notice it's very important that I'm doing this from ball group and not sphere. And it's an easy mistake to make because if I just click this, it's going to pick the sphere and not the group. You can always use your up arrow and that'll move you up the hierarchy to the group node, but make sure you're setting the keyframes for the scale and the movement in the group node or this won't work. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time making this look pretty, but I will do the step of going into the graph editor and breaking the tangents here. Select with my left mouse, middle mouse, drag it up. It's a little bit too far. Whoops. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. Make sure my animation preferences are set for real time, 24 frames a second. So, not great animation there. See, I gotta go up to the group node. That's where the animation is. Select that, W for move, shift middle mouse drag to move that horizontally. Okay, let's see if that, oh, by the way, I put a checker on there just so you can see the rotation. Okay. Not great, but let's call it good enough. Oh, I did one. It's like I can't leave it alone. Up arrow. See, it's so easy to forget. Let's make sure this lines up with the end of that. And I might just go ahead and delete these keyframes out. Okay, one last time. Let's take a look. God, it's moving way too fast here. Let's just make this one more linear. Okay. You can have it slow down a little bit towards the end, but anyway, it's not great, but it's good enough for this because the whole point was just to show you how the rotation works. So you get your animation on the ball, and you can add your squash and stretch as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, up arrow, very important. So right here, it's going to be stretched a little bit. Okay, and then, sorry, probably that should be there. Just set just a scale keyframe there. And then this frame is our squash frame. I guess the other thing is I can, if I want the angle of the squash and stretch to be changing here, I can change that as well. Like if I want, and that's still going to be separate from the spinning rotation of the ball. And you'll see what I mean. Okay. And then here, what I'll do is I like to give it sort of that recovery frame sometimes, but then I'll just click there and middle mouse drag here, and then I'm just going to keyframe my rotates and scales on this guy, except we want it rotated the other way. Oops. See, I'm keep picking the ball. I gotta pick the group node. It's such an easy mistake to make. It should probably be zeroed out here. Okay. And then when we get up here, we're going to have zeroed out rotates. Oops. And put the scales back to 1. And then just by here, we'll rotate at that angle and then give a little stretch. Okay. And anyways, you would keep going from there. But so we've got the squash and stretch on there. And again, all of this was done in that group node. Right now, if I just pick the sphere, there's no animation on there. So now, if I want the ball to rotate, I have the sphere selected. I'm going to do Shift E for keyframing my rotates. And let's just have it go to this last frame. And what's kind of almost magical is you see it rotates sort of through this shape. You'll see what I mean. So it maintains that shape for your squash and stretch. So let's do like minus 360, like one full rotation throughout the whole thing. Let's watch that slower. Okay, so see this squash and stretch isn't affected by the rotate, and the rotate's not affected by the squash and stretch. It sort of rotates through it. So there you go. There's the better way of rigging this for that purpose. All the translates or rotates in the scale. The rotate, that is to rotate the angle of the sort of squash and stretch itself, is going to be on the group node, and then the rotate of the spinning of the ball is on this sphere node.